All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So we're talking about the Green Bay Packers. Vegas just dropped their win totals for every team in the NFL. They got Green Bay sitting here at 10.5. Folks, we are about a month away from the start of the NFL draft, and especially after the additions of Josh Jacobs at the running back position, Xavier McKinney at the safety spot, the new addition, defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley. You got to be thinking these Green Bay Packers, folks, they look phenomenal on paper. Now, they still have a couple of holes. My biggest flaw with Green Bay currently is the safety position. I keep seeing on Twitter that it's a great day to sign safety Justin Simmons. He's coming off yet another Pro Bowl appearance. Folks, I would not be surprised in the slightest if the Green Bay Packers walked away with him. But still, regardless, they have a couple of holes they need to fill. The safety spot, whether that's going to be in the draft or a veteran free agent signing. I could use another linebacker. We're going to talk about the linebacker spot in just a minute. Offensively, just more offensive line depth, maybe a more long-term answer at left tackle for the departure of David Bakhtiari. But folks, like the Green Bay Packers look phenomenal. We just heard Jordan Love say, obviously, we'll have that target on our back now. People are going to want to beat us. We are hungry. You gotta love Jordan Love's demeanor, his intensity, and I just feel so good. As a Green Bay Packer fan, I feel so good about this upcoming season. So before we get into it, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content, along with a ton of Packers videos on this channel. Packers fans, love you guys as always. If we could try to get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So here's the thing. There was a vote, I saw it on Twitter. The Packers' biggest draft needs, here are the earliest results. 40% said linebacker, 21% said safety, 20% said interior offensive line, 13% at tackle, and then 3% at cornerback. The 40% at linebacker is really interesting because I guarantee you the Green Bay Packers will certainly draft somebody. I don't think it's going to be in the first round, maybe a second round shot. Keep in mind, man, the Green Bay Packers have an absurd amount of draft capital. I would not be surprised if they traded up in round 1, if they traded up in round 2. Watch for draft day moves from the Green Bay Packers. But when we look at the linebacker spot, you got Rashawn Gary, Isaiah McDuffie, Quay Walker, and Preston Smith. So they did end up losing Devondre Campbell, and just due to injuries, Devondre Campbell, if you guys didn't see it, he had a ton of comments on former DC Joe Barry saying pretty much he had to have like private one-on-one sessions with head coach Matt LaFleur to just tell him, like, please, we need to be more aggressive. So I think it's a good thing Devondre Campbell's on his way out. Unfortunately, at this point in his career, it's more so injuries. That quote is not ideal, but Joe Barry's no longer a member of the Packers, and neither is Devondre, so who really cares? The linebacker position is really interesting because I think guys like Quay Walker, Rashawn Gary, and Isaiah McDuffie are poised for breakout seasons. The biggest thing with the Green Bay Packers last year, outside of aggressiveness, was our defense was tied for the second to last in the National Football League with only 18 takeaways. The simple addition of Xavier McKinney is going to go an extremely long way, folks. When he is healthy and out there playing on the field, he's a playmaker. This past season, 116 total tackles. He had 11 pass deflections, and more importantly, outside of playing every single game for the New York Giants, he had 3 total picks. He had 5 picks 2 years ago in his other fully healthy season. The guy is going to give our defensive line and our linebackers and Jeff Hafley more ample opportunities to blitz. And that's where guys like Quay Walker come in, and that's where guys especially like Rashawn Gary come in. Rashawn Gary, when he's healthy, is an absolute monster. The dude is a star in the NFL. In 63 career games, Rashawn Gary has produced 27 sacks, 62 quarterback hits, 3 forced fumbles, and 4 fumble recoveries. The guy's a walking playmaker. And if I have extra help on my secondary, right, we got guys like Eric Stokes coming back fully healthy, Jair Alexander, Keyshawn Nixon is coming back, but the simple addition of Xavier McKinney, and if they were to sign Justin Simmons, now you have a secondary that you actually can trust, and you can blitz now, or you can blitz a lot more now. You can be more aggressive. We know Jeff Hafley wanted a free safety so badly. He's just a big free safety player, and you got it in Xavier McKinney. So, folks, I think the addition of Xavier McKinney is an absolute needle mover, game-changing addition by the Green Bay Packers. We saw them sign a record number of money, millions of dollars, over $100 million on the first day of free agency. And that's something you don't see from the Green Bay Packers historically. So Kenny Clark, TJ Slayton, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary, Xavier. And here's the thing with Isaiah McDuffie as well. He played, all of our games last season. He only started in, I believe, like a little under less than half. I think he started in either 8 or 10 games last season. He had like 86 total tackles. The reason this is important is because he is being reunited with his former head coach at Boston College and our new defensive coordinator, Jeff Hafley. So I think guys like Quay Walker, who's already on his way to stardom in the NFL after just 2 seasons, really minimize just kind of those boneheaded mistakes that we saw twice in his rookie season 2 years ago and A-Rod's last year, especially against the Detroit Lions in the regular season finale. Folks, that linebacker unit, in my opinion, I think it's really good. I do think they're still going to draft somebody. And then if I were to wake up or just check Twitter and see Justin Simmons is now a Green Bay Packer, folks, I will lose my mind, because the Green Bay Packers, even with Joe Barry's incompetency at the defensive coordinator spot last season, they still finished as the 10th best defense in the NFL. Now, offensively, I have practically zero holes, zero flaws with it outside of offensive lineman depth. I do think the addition of Josh Jacobs really changes the trajectory for the Green Bay Packers. Aaron Jones was a beast, and they brought back A.J. Dillon, and that surprised a lot of people, myself included. But Josh Jacobs is 26. He's like 3 years younger than Aaron Jones. It's on a very decent contract. It's on a very team-friendly contract as well. And Josh Jacobs, 2 years removed from being the league's leading runner. He had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage and was the league's leading runner. So Josh Jacobs, when he's healthy and out there, is a baller. We've said it on this channel. I'll say it one more time. Josh Jacobs, don't look at his stats last year, because the Raiders' first half offense, the Raiders' first half as a team in general, with Josh McDaniels and Jimmy Garoppolo at the helm, it was an absolute dumpster fire. Like they had like one game putting up over 20 points. So Josh Jacobs could only do so much. But outside of that, man, I do think they'll probably go with a left tackle or an offensive tackle in the first round. I do think our first round draft pick will be a little bit more underwhelming as far as, not this star-studded receiver, et cetera, et cetera. I do think someone will emerge as wide receiver number 1 next season. Obviously, in my opinion, it'll be Christian Watson if he can play like over 15 games. But injuries have always been a thing with Christian Watson, especially since getting into the NFL. So I wouldn't be surprised if they take a flyer on a late round wide receiver. But when we look at their depth at the wide receiver spot, it's ridiculous. Romeo Dobbs had a phenomenal season. He had a phenomenal postseason. Jaden Reed had a phenomenal rookie season. Bo Melton, what felt like came out of nowhere. Malik Heath, Dontavian Wicks. Folks, this Green Bay Packers team is loaded, and they are a piece or two away from being, in my opinion, one of the best rosters in the entire National Football League. So I'm hammering over the 10.5 win total, which is already really solid coming out from Vegas. So that's it for me. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and let me know your current thoughts on the Green Bay Packers.